Hey advisors, what is up? If you are new to this channel, my name is Benjamin Ong and I'm the CEO of 2xyz, and I've created this channel because there are a lot of financial advisors out there that are either broke or they are earning a lot of money but yet unhappy. Okay, so I hope that some of these lessons that I'm documenting down throughout my own process and journey would be able to help you become happier, purposeful and wealthy. In this video today, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to grow your advisory business. Okay, and there's only 3 ways, like 3. Okay, of which the first way, I think a lot of people would be very familiar with it. I don't think it should come as a surprise. But the second and third one involves, a way that doesn't involve like having to add more clients. Okay, so these are the 3 ways I'm going to share them with you in this video. The first one, right? The first way to obviously grow a business is, you get more clients, right? And this is, pretty standard, right? You get more clients. So obviously, if let's say on a month-to-month basis, you're acquiring, let's say 5 clients, right? And all you need to do is, obviously, if you want more production, you want to have more commissions and whatnot, all you need to do is to add more clients, right? Add 5 more on a monthly basis and you get 10, right? And this new number should increase, technically speaking, to a certain extent, the production that you earn, number 1. And then number 2, your clientele base, right? So this is like the simplest ever, right? Just get more clients and then you are able to increase your production and clientele. Straightforward, right? So this is the first strategy, right? The second way is to actually increase case size, right? Increase case size from each client or from each case that you close, right? This is literally like the thing that that I would really suggest focusing on the second way, purely because if you look at the first one, which is get more clients, right? So adding more clients or having more clientele doesn't necessarily mean a large proportional increase in production. So for example, because like let's say you have an iFarmer clients, but all these clients are usually, the cases that you close maybe are more like a personal accident plan or like a hospitalization plan, for example, right? Now, obviously not that it's bad, but if you look at in terms of production and everything else, relatively speaking, having one more client doesn't necessarily mean that you get an increase in $1,000 FYC or like commissions in that sense, right? That's the reason why the second way to increase more production and grow your business is to increase case size, right? So obviously the first route that I think everybody will go into is like, okay, cool. So instead of selling a savings plan, for example, at $200 a month, a lot of people think that increasing case size would be like, okay, cool. So instead of opening at $200 a month, and then we should open them at, for example, $600 a month, for example, right? So instead of selling 200, we sell them at, or we, recommend at $600 a month, assuming it fits the needs, okay? All these are assuming that it fits the client's needs, okay? So instead of 200, it's $600 a month, right? Now, the problem with this idea, obviously is good, right? But I'm just saying that obviously the one of the biggest problem when people think of it this way is that it creates this barrier and it's pretty restrictive, right? Because not everybody can just, okay, has a budget of like 200 to 600 within like that same sitting. Right, maybe over the years, yes, but within the same sitting, it's not easy to just say, okay, cool, you're a fresh graduate, instead of 200, let's try 600 a month. You're gonna be a little bit more difficult. Not saying that it can't happen, but usually it's not the easiest, right? So the way to think about increasing of case size is to look at incremental margins, right? So what I mean by that is, so look at B, yeah? So let's say it's $250 a month. And what you need to do, instead of selling at 500 or 600, which is twice the amount that you're going to initially recommend, right? All you need to do is, you can ask the prospect and put it in a way, right? Okay, instead of 250, how about we do it at 285 a month, right? So the difference is just $35 a month, right? Which is not too much of a big deal, right? Like it's just $35 more, right? A single month. Right, and I think obviously for the prospect, it shouldn't be too much of an issue in a sense because it's just $35. But it means, so the amount is small, but if you look at percentage increment, this is leading to a 14% increment, right? 14%. Okay, so literally just within like $35, like even if you just increase $35 a month, which is a small number, but in terms of production, it's 14% increase, right? It increased 40% of production, whether it's commissions or premiums. Now, then if the thing here is that if you do this across all the case size, all the cases that you do, let's say even let's say a personal accident plan, right? Maybe it's $20 a month, for example. I think it should be lesser, right? Let's say it's $10 a month, right? Just selling it at $15 a month or like $18 a month, right? Which is just at $5 or $8 more, results in a 14 to 25% increment in margins, right? So if you think of it this way, and if you apply it to all your cases, right, you don't ask for the 2 times, 3 times, right? You don't ask for like, oh, instead of 200, let's do 600. No, because your prospect will probably have a lot of resistance. So what you're gonna do is, instead of 250, you'll be like, okay, how about 280, 285, right? And that is a lot more easier for the prospect or your potential client to really accept that kind of increment, right? Because it's just a small little ask. But if you apply this strategy across all your cases, then you're going to have at least a 14% increment, right? Now, this is huge because if you think about like your entire year, when you're running for your entire year, if you're on the high side, right? If you do 100,000 commissions, okay, let me just put first year commissions, right? First year commissions. This would mean it's an additional 14,000, right? Like $14,000 that just comes in just by you asking and upselling that or increasing case size just by a little bit, right? So this is like 14,000 more, right? But obviously, if let's say we go on to something that is a little bit, even if it goes into something smaller, right? Like if let's say you earn 30,000 in the entire year, 14% of that, right, is about 4,009, right? 4,009, that's almost like 5K more, right? So you think about it, just entire year, you don't have to find an additional client. You don't have to find another 10 more clients. All you need to do is just apply this strategy and ask a little bit more, and you get $5,000 more, right? Just think about that, right? So obviously, the increment depends on how much you ask for and how you ask it. But even if you go for just a small ask with 10, 14, 15%, it gets you a lot more production, right? Do not underestimate this purely because, like, if you look at, sometimes when you're running for awards like your MDRT and whatnot, usually that 10 or 15% of production, usually the shortfall between where you're at right now and your goal is usually maybe like 10, 15, 20% difference, right? And just applying this could literally get you there a lot easier without adding additional clients, right? So that strategy, that's the second way to grow your business. Okay, now the third way is to increase frequency, right? Increase frequency of, let me just put it here, purchases. Okay, increase frequency of purchases, right? So I think this is something that a little more common that most people do, which is, and there are 2 ways to go about it, right? The first way, it's cross-sell, right? Or I will put it in a way like you just bundle up like the kind of like products within like the same setting or the same appointment, right? So instead of just selling a shoe plan, right? You want a shoe plus maybe an accident plan, right? Accident plan, right? Instead of just selling a term plan, you just sell a term and maybe, let me just put a wealth WA, right? A wealth accumulation plan, right? It could be a savings plan, an investment plan, or whatnot, right? And you can really just add on, and there's a lot of other things that are good about it, right? It could be, instead of just selling a term, it could be a term and a shoe. It could be a shoe and a whole life, for example, right? A whole life or whatever it is. So it's kind of like putting it in a bundle. Most of the time, like when you meet a prospect and whatnot, there's usually other areas in their financial planning that have loopholes or flaws that can help to cover in that sense, right? So if you position and present it in a bundle, like, hey, this is for you. If you are a fresh graduate, right? These are the things that you need at this amount, and these are the different products in that sense, right? That suits and serves your need, right? Then from there, then of course, this is a recommendation. Then anything that you tailor down according to their budget, their situation, and whatnot, right? So it's kind of like how you want to bundle things together versus just selling one product, right? Or just selling one, I only want to do investments or only want to do shoe plan, term plan, and whatnot, right? So that's the first one, right? So first one obviously is to, increase the frequency of purchases through cross-selling or like product bundling, right? Now, the next one that you can do is to service and revisit your clients, right? So what's the difference, right? The first one, cross-sell, upsell, bundle, right? It's more like in the same appointment or in the same setting, this is what you do as a whole, right? Okay, you sell all together at once, maybe 2 or 3 together, right? The second one is more like, cool, after you acquire a client and maybe you only sold 1 product or 2 products in a sense, Then maybe 1 year later, 1.5 years or few years down the road, this is where you can increase the frequency of their purchases again, right? Like going back to them, revisiting them, servicing them and everything else, right? So in marketing and business terms, there's this thing called like LTV, right? Which means to say it's called lifetime value. So what this means is that, throughout the lifetime of the relationship with your client, and that could be 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? How much or how many times are they going to buy from you? Because most of the time, as advisors, we usually only look at the first year, right? The first time that they buy, how big is the case and everything else. But I'm not that used to really considering like, okay, the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, how many more times is this particular client going to buy, right? And if you think about it, if that same client just buy another 1 to 2 more products from you, and that could be a savings plan or that could just be an additional term coverage, you literally just like increase your production without adding new clients, right? Without finding more prospects, without asking for referrals even. That's another way to really increase your frequency of these purchases. Obviously, the assumption is that it fits their needs, yada yada, and everything else, right? Everything that is ethical and stuff like that. Why is this so important? Because the other thing I want to bring up, right, is that, when you go about this method to grow a business, it forces you to focus on those clients, right? It forces you to focus on the servicing part, right? So a lot of people take this strategy and then like, okay, cool. What I do every year or every 6 months is just to do policy review, right? Just to cross-sell, upsell. Or if there's a new product, then I'll come in and then, we just sell them and whatnot, right? That's usually kind of like the idea. I think everybody's good at the selling, but, or at the pitching. But the problem is that not all your clients are going to buy from you purely because the servicing part isn't there, right? I'm not going to go in too deep, but like basically, there's a few ways, right? So the first one is the standard, okay, cool. Everybody do a policy review, right? So you do policy review, I'm going to cross-sell you, upsell you. That usually leads to that, right? So it leads to, let me just add in here, leads to cross-sell and upsell. Now, the thing here is that policy review is something that is so overused that and if you use it across the years, like every year or every 6 months, you do the exact same thing, the problem is that your clients are going to be sick and tired of it, right? Which is, this person is coming back to me again, is texting me because, need to look at my policy and going to sell me something, right? So this usually is what happens, especially you're longer in the business. So the second thing that I think most people do not emphasize or look at, right, is the relationship building part, right? And the relationship building part basically means like, just having a coffee with them, catching up with them with no specific agenda, just by showing interest, right, in them, showing that you truly care for them in that sense, right? So after you have done that, then what happens is that they're more inclined to open up even themselves in terms of like, cool, hey, I remember, I want to look into an investment plan and whatnot, right? And that usually happens if you show them that you care, show that you put the relationship first, then the resources that you're looking for, right? It's more like, okay, you give, and then after that, there is a chance that you will get. Okay, so obviously the more you do this, the higher the chance that your clients will come and buy from you, and especially when you open up policies that they might not have or they need to top up in that sense. Okay, so this is the second way to really emphasize on, right? And this is the reason why the third strategy of increased frequency of purchases really forces you to focus on those clients and focus on the relationships, focus on servicing them, planning out their cash flow, etc., and being there for them, right? And I think that will make, a little bit more of the client-centric kind of like mentality, and therefore, allowing, and growing your business in that way, right? Which is perfect, right? Because you care for your clients, the clients buy from you again, and, the lifetime value of your customers is a lot longer, okay? So if you look at all these three strategies, right? The first one, a lot of people obviously use it, right? Get more clients, and, that's where I would say even like 80% of the advisors, right, focus their attention on, which is how to get more clients, right? The problem with getting more clients, like I mentioned, is a couple of things. First one, doesn't necessarily translate into a huge increase in production. That's number one, because of different case, etc. The second one is that, there's only so many clients or so many prospects or appointments you can really get, especially if, let's say, you're in Singapore, for example, there's only so many, right? And it really pulls the attention away from like servicing clients, right? This is the reason why, like, even though some advisors have like 200-300 clients, their clientele, they're still focusing on getting more appointments, right? When in fact, if you have already 50, 100, 200 clients, you can still get more production and grow advisory business by increasing case size, number one. And number two, going back to these clients, building those relationships, showing them that you care, and then growing your business from there, right? So that's kind of like an alternate viewpoint or perspective that you can apply, because then this pulls you away from like, okay, hunting, getting more clients, versus, okay, now I want to service my clients, care for them, and then in return, they obviously will buy from me if my service is good, etc., etc. It was one thing that just popped on my mind, right? There's one thing, that I always remember is that I don't think we actually want more clients, right? Or like want a lot more appointments a week. I think what we want at the end of the day is more production, more commissions, and everything else, right? And we usually tend to associate more commissions, productions with more clients, right? So that's kind of like the thing over there. Hopefully, now you're able to see and kind of like unlock the other two ways to grow your business without adding more clients. Okay, so again, I hope this is helpful for you. Like if you're thinking of how to increase your production for your advisory business, these 3 ways will be very, very useful, and these 3 are the only way to grow your advisory business. And hope you find this video valuable. And so do like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.